was like a monkey in heat on the parallel bars. Joan Rivers made Johnny Carson a fortune. She saved his show when ratings dropped. She was his permanent guest host. Then in 1986 she told one joke that changed everything. Carson's face went cold. Within days she was banned from The Tonight Show forever. For 28 years her name was never mentioned again. The ban outlasted Carson himself. What she said that night wasn't even about him, but it cost her everything. Hollywood's biggest feud started with 10 seconds of comedy. Joan Rivers was born Joan Alexandra Malinsky on June 8, 1933 in Brooklyn, New York. Her parents, Beatrice and Mir Malinsky, were Russian Jewish immigrants trying to build a better life. Meyer was a respected doctor, but what truly set him apart was his quick wit. That sharp humor filled their home, and Joan absorbed it from an early age. In the tough world of 1930s Brooklyn, laughter became their family's way of coping. For Joan, humor wasn't just entertainment. It became a shield, a weapon, and eventually her greatest gift. As a child, Joan struggled with her weight. In a world where thinness was praised, she felt out of place. But instead of hiding from that pain, she used it. She stood on stage and joked about dieting, disasters, and feeling like an outsider. Audiences laughed, but more than that, they saw a woman brave enough to say what they felt inside. In the 1960s, when women in comedy were rare, Joan's honesty broke barriers. She showed that it was okay to laugh at our flaws, and in doing so she opened doors for future generations. Joan's education was impressive. She graduated from Barnard College in 1954 with a degree in English, literature, and anthropology, but she also carried a secret. She often claimed she graduated summa cum laude and was part of Phi Beta Kappa. These claims weren't true. Still, they reflected something deeper: the pressure to be taken seriously in a world that didn't always respect women, especially in entertainment. Joan wanted to prove herself, even if it meant bending the truth. Changing her name from Joan Malinsky to Joan Rivers wasn't just about sounding better. It was about survival. Her agent, Tony Rivers, suggested it, and Joan knew it was the right move. A name like Rivers was easier to remember, easier to book, and less likely to face bias. With that name, she stepped onto stages in New York's nightclubs and made people listen. Joan Rivers wasn't just another comic. She was bold, fearless, and unforgettable. But success didn't come fast. Joan spent 7 long years performing in small, smoky clubs in Greenwich Village. From the mid-1950s to the early 1960s, she faced rejection after rejection. Many nights she was booed off stage. Club owners didn't believe a woman could succeed in stand-up. She earned little or nothing, but she kept going. Those tough years sharpened her humor and toughened her spirit. When she finally broke through, she didn't just make it for herself. She proved that women could thrive in comedy's toughest rooms. Her big break came thanks to an unexpected ally. In 1965, after 7 failed auditions, Joan finally got her chance on The Tonight Show. Bill Cosby had seen her perform and pushed the producers to give her a shot. "She can't be worse than the guy you had last night," he joked. On February 17th, Joan appeared during the final 10 minutes of the show, the slot no one wanted, but she turned it into gold. Johnny Carson declared, "You're going to be a star." Overnight, everything changed. Offers poured in, and Joan made 9 more appearances on the show that same year. Joan's bond with The Tonight Show grew stronger. In 1983, she made history as the first woman to become a permanent guest host. For decades, late-night TV had been a man's world, but Joan stepped in, commanded the stage, and proved she belonged. She inspired women everywhere to aim higher. Yet Joan always suspected NBC gave her that role because they saw Her as safe, no threat to Carson. That miscalculation worked in Joan's favor. Across 2 decades, Joan appeared on The Tonight Show nearly 100 times. She made people laugh at celebrities, politics, and herself. Her voice became part of American culture, and her fearless style paved the way for others. Joan Rivers' first marriage was like a dream that turned into a nightmare in record time. In 1957, she married James Sanger, heir to the Bond clothing store's fortune. On paper it looked perfect, but the truth came out fast and hit hard. Sanger had hidden a crucial fact. He didn't want children. Joan had always dreamed of being a mother, so this secret felt like a deep betrayal. The marriage barely lasted 6 months. By 1958 it was annulled. Joan later joked that it lasted 6 months longer than it should have. That short marriage didn't break her spirit, pushed her to start over. She went home, took a hard look at her life, and decided to chase something new. That decision launched her into acting and comedy, changing her life forever. In 1965, Joan married Edgar Rosenberg. To the public, they seemed like the perfect creative team. But behind closed doors, Joan was honest about things most people would have kept quiet. In a 2012 interview with Howard Stern, she admitted she had affairs during the marriage. She spoke of a one-night stand with Robert Mitchum in the 1960s, right after they appeared on The Tonight Show together. In 1971, during her Broadway run of Fun City, she said she had an intense affair with Gabriel Dell. It was so serious that she left Edgar for a few weeks. She even joked, though no one knew how true it was, about flings with Johnny Carson and John F. Kennedy. People were shocked. Her openness shattered the image of the loyal wife and showed just how complicated her private world was. And Joan, always the comic, even turned her affairs into part of her act. But Joan's reinvention started long before the fame. At just 8 years old, she created an alter ego. She called herself J. Sandra Meredith. This wasn't just a game. Growing up as Joan Malinsky in Brooklyn, she felt second best to her older sister. Her mother's harsh words about her looks cut deep. J. Sandra Meredith was Joan's way of escaping. This new version of herself was everything she wanted to be: beautiful, confident, and talented. That early creation showed how Joan would spend her life reshaping her image, whether through comedy, surgery, or ambition. The need to be accepted, to be loved, drove her all the way to the top. That same need sometimes led Joan to stretch the truth. She often claimed she graduated summa cum laude from Barnard College and was part of Phi Beta Kappa. Neither was true. She graduated, yes, but without honor.